The Jonathan Weir Show.
Happy Wednesday to all 11 of you. It is the Jonathan Weir Show here from Rod's house. Another fantastic day of podcast excellence for all of you. I know I've begun every show since the first show saying this, but I just want to thank all of you so much for listening to the show and for telling people about it too, because we're getting more listens per episode to this show by far than we ever used to for the Jonathan Weir Show podcast. When it was the radio show was the podcast. This new show that we're doing, Radio Free Weir, whatever the hell it's called, is getting so many more listens than the podcast for a radio show did. And I can't tell you what that means to me, because if we continue doing this and nobody was listening, I would be on a ledge somewhere. Yeah, Rod, you know me. I've been on the edge anyway.
I know. But you'd still want to do it.
I would still do it, yeah. I'd be like, we got 3 listeners last night, though, buddy. 3! Okay, one of them was me. The other one was my mom, but I don't know who that third guy is. He seems pretty cool.
It would be Josh the Weirdo.
Yes, it would
So
be.
anyways.
Love you, Josh.
I can't, again, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I can't believe people actually care. And enough of the kiss ass. I want to tell you about what I did to my son.
What?
No, I'm dying to tell you about this.
Please tell me this doesn't go to an incredibly dark place.
No,
because
I did not do it intentionally. I did not do it intentionally.
All right, I'm just making sure, because
what happened to my son?
I don't think anybody has ever started a story with me on those terms. Let me tell you what I did to my son.
Let me tell you what I did to the boy.
I don't want to hear it. I'm calling CPS already.
Listen, okay, so down down in the basement. This isn't getting better, is it?
You got one.
Okay, so a few months back, or a few weeks back, my brother Justice was in town, and from Texas, and we were downstairs messing around and moving some stuff around. He was helping me move some things around, and we knocked this light off, hit it, and it broke. Basically, it's a unfinished basement is like a bare fixture with just a light bulb, and we hit it and it broke. So it, bang, and it popped and through the breaker.
Bam even.
It bammed even.
Yeah.
And through the breaker. And so
there it is.
So like, damn it. So we turned the breaker back on. It was fine except for that light, you know what I mean? And we just went on about our business. And I hadn't fixed it yet because it's me.
So you have this broken
bare light bulb hanging in the basement with a metal chain hanging from it. Chain.
Okay, you didn't fix it, but I'm sure you shut power off to that, you threw the circuit.
No.
To that part of the
when I put the breaker back on, all the other lights came on, and that one just didn't.
And it was just every once in a while it would buzz. And
no,
send
it wouldn't do it
sparks.
as long as nobody touched it. It's fine.
A dog caught fire.
Yeah, as long as nobody touches it, it's fine.
Sure. There's nobody important, you mean?
There's the metal beaded chain, pull chain hanging from it.
Oh my God.
But here again, nobody goes down there but me. So it's no big deal.
What are you talking about? It's a house.
So a few days later,
you don't have that area padlocked. I've been to your basement. The only thing separating your basement from the rest of your house is a dirty old blanket that you hang in the doorway.
A dirty old blanket.
I'm not making that up. That's real.
Yeah, that's true.
It's acneed with cigarette burns.
It is. And it smells like
it's not
old
even a
cigarettes.
good blanket. Yeah. You could at least hang a comforter.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so it was a good blanket when I put it up 10 years ago. So the point is, I was gone after, a few days, a week after this happened. I was gone. I was at the lake. My son, Roman, who's 11 years old, went down to the basement. There's a shelf down there in the basement that has all the games on it. Like Monopoly and Jenga.
Sure.
All the games that you have in your house. They're all on a shelf down in the basement, very near where this broken light was. And Roman went down there alone and pulled that chain to turn that light on, as you would always do. There was no reason why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
And zapped the piss out of himself.
Jeez.
Yeah, he walked down there, pulled the chain, and it went.
Oh.
And he was like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" as he's telling me the story, immediately I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a horrible. I'm so sorry that happened to you. And, and we talked about it. But it immediately, I remember 100% accuracy the first time I got electrocuted. And my guess is so do you.
Yes, that is actually true. I think maybe everybody does.
That's what I'm thinking. There's certain traumatic things that happen in your life.
Yeah.
And like if you have a broken arm or
pain is like that.
But yeah,
you remember pain as a biological mechanism, I suppose. So
I've known people who were in car accidents when they were very young that remember that moment quite vividly.
Yeah, so not to do that kind of thing again.
Yeah.
But I think you should be worried if you did something really dangerous and then you don't feel pain. You're like, I feel fine. You're about to die.
Yeah.
That's your body's way of going, you know what? There's no fixing this. I'm just going to shove all the adrenaline out, just like electricity
Change
shoved
your last
into
name to Knievel now.
Just like electricity shoved into the young body of Rod Babcock's son. I'm just going to shove all that adrenaline out, and so you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just die. Just die. Please die.
I did.
I don't know what I'm going to do if you wake up from this. This is going to hurt. But yeah, the first time I was electrocuted, or isn't electrocuted you die?
Well, no, you got shocked.
Okay, you just got shocked. The first time I got shocked, I remember I was 2 years old, and I know that I was 2 years old because I lived in a trailer for the first full 3 years of my life. We literally moved out of the trailer on my third birthday.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was like the house was a present to me.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't, even at 3, wasn't much of a present.
You had unwrapped it to find all the pain and misery within that house.
Wasn't a great house. There was a crawl space in this house, and
it was terrifying.
I had to crawl over a lot of mounds. Anyway, point is, we had my birthday at the house. I was 2 years old. I was in this trailer, and I remember being on the ground, and I remember holding a fork or something in my hand.
Your dad told you that those holes in the wall were fork cleaners, didn't he? That fork's dirty, boy. Take it over there to the fork cleaner and clean it off. And you were like, okay, Daddy.
As he was filling out my life insurance policy. There's a fork cleaner, boy. How do you spell your name again, boy? Is there an H in there? W-E-I-R-W. That's right, W. It's my name, too. Whatever. Anyway, go die. Die! Anyway, so he told me it was a fork cleaner. I shove it in there. I just remember, I don't remember the pain. I just remember the feeling of everything getting weird. Like
vibration.
Everything went gray. I vibrated, and then I don't remember what happened after that. I have 2 memories, by the way, from that trailer. 2. One was that. The second one was my dad bought like this scary clown mask. And decided it wasn't even Halloween or anything. It was like, April 13th or something like that. He bought this scary clown mask with it had a mullet on it.
Yeah.
And it had a big, scary, ugly face. And I'm home by myself. Like, my mom isn't even there. And he just kicks in the door with the clown mask and goes, like that. And I don't remember after that. The world went jittery. And I think maybe it was after that I went over to the light socket and was like, kill me. Please let it end. I don't want the clown to get me.
It was the scary clown that told you the fork cleaner was in the wall, right?
And to this day, I've always distrusted clowns and anybody with mullets. And my dad. All of them safely.
All 3 good life lessons.
All of them good life lessons. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's why also to this day, the fork thing, it's the reason I prefer fast food, because almost all fast food you eat with your hands.
Don't need a
you
fork.
Don't use a fork.
Nope.
I actually always feel a little bit of trepidation anytime I pick up a fork. I start crying. It's weird. Watch The Little Mermaid. She's combing her hair with the fork, and I'm like, oh, no.
Don't like her.
No.
Don't like her.
You're already underwater, bitch.
So for me... Oh, geez. For me, I was probably about 7. Yeah, I was like 6 or 7. I was 7.
Yeah. What's
funny is you mentioned, you were 2 because of the trailer.
Yeah.
So everyone, I think, associates with where they lived. Unless you were, the kind of person that lived in one house. If you were fortunate enough for that upbringing. But if you were somebody that moved around a lot, like myself, then anytime somebody says, well, how old were you when that happened? You're like, let's see, we were living and Fort Worth and Cambridge Station. So I would have been, that's how you like. I would have been 7. Mom was working at Pizza Inn. So yeah. So my mother worked at Pizza Inn. She was like a general manager of a Pizza Inn. And she had an office, a tiny little office in this one Pizza Inn that was down the street from our house, from our townhouse that we lived in. And when she had to work late, she would take me up there, and I had this little black and white television. And it's, when I say it was black and white, it was a small portable TV, from the late 70s. And it had the little folding handle on top, and it had the 2 metal antennas that stick up.
Sure.
And it was like, maybe a 12-inch screen. And you plugged it into the wall and you could watch TV. And it was the color, like when you looked at the television, it was black and white. But when you turned it on, it was also black and white. Like it was a black and white TV.
It was almost like it's okay because this entire world is black and white.
The TV itself, like, oh, look, that TV is black and white. And then you turned it on, you went, oh, shit, it's black and white.
Yeah, it's like that really bad Tobey Maguire movie, Spider-Man 3. Anyway, black and white. So
the point is, I carried this TV with me everywhere as a kid. What is that?
Don't worry about it. They're not hearing it.
Okay. So I carried this TV with me when I was a kid, back and forth from the house. It was in my room, and then I would take it to the Pizza Inn, and I would sit in the back and watch TV while my mom had to work late. Mm-hmm. So the cord had gotten frayed, and I went to plug it in, and it zapped the shit out of me. And same thing, I plugged it in and went, and it's that vibration.
Yeah.
And it just scared the fuck out of me because I had no idea what it was. Just like, oh my God, I don't know what just happened.
So the cord was frayed, and so were you.
Yes, I was.
You were afraid.
So like here again, at 7 years old, I don't know why the TV monster just bit me.
TV's supposed to be my best friend.
TV's my babysitter.
Do you remember what was on TV at the time?
No. Well, I was just plugging it in, so nothing yet.
It'd be great if it was, you turned it on, it was Andy Griffith, and he was like, now did you learn your lesson, Opie?
So it freaks me out, and that's all I really remember is the actual. I remember plugging it in, and I remember it zapping the shit out of me, and it's that traumatic, They used to do the thing where it would, like when you taught a child a lesson.
Yeah.
And then you would hit them in the head so they wouldn't forget.
That's why we think that in schools, the reason that there was so much beating was as a matter of discipline. No, that was just their excuse eventually, or they downgraded it to that.
Right.
They used to ritualistically beat children to help them learn. Like that was because if right before I shoved that fork into a socket, somebody came up to me and went, hey, by the way, 2 times 2 is 4. I would have been like, oh, what? Ah! I'd never forget it. I'd never forget that.
Well, when I first read about it, I was reading a thing about public execution, about public hangings.
Yes.
And the Old West days. And what's strange, because everyone would go to the public hanging, which I thought, why the hell would you go to the public hanging? And it became this thing where you took your kids and you went to the public hanging and you went, you see that? You lie to your mom and you steal shit, and that's going to be your dumb ass up there hanging in front of everybody. And then they would whack the shit out of the kids.
Yes.
So they knew, so they were learned.
But they would do that also, and I'm not saying this to be funny, it's true. It was entertainment. That was before they had TVs to plug into a wall that shocked the hell out of them. But no, it really was. There have been countless books written on this about why torture and the public square hanging type of stuff, why did that go away recently? We aren't more civilized. We aren't nicer people necessarily now.
No, because
maybe we are a little bit, but
yeah.
But no, because it was entertainment. It was the only entertainment they had. They had the circus would come to town once a year. They'd see a clown, scare the hell out of them, and then the circus would leave. In my experience, that's the circus, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
Boogity, boogity,
There's a tiger, an elephant, and then the clowns scare the piss out of me.
The chair, and then they leave. But then they had hangings, and it wasn't just hangings. They used to, like, have you ever heard of breaking somebody on the wheel, where they just would attach them to the wheel and break all their limbs, and then just roll over them back and forth until the people were just splinters and gore.
And they would literally tie, your arms and legs to separate horses, and then send the horses away.
Yeah.
But that was back in like medieval times. You get as close as the Old West, which really isn't all that long ago with the public hangings. There was still that it was normal to take your kids to the public hanging and then beat them a little before you went home.
Right. Yeah.
So they would, know that when you fuck up, this is what's going to happen. Don't fuck up.
Don't fuck up. This is what's going to happen to you. So that's weird. But
like I said, the whole thing that started this conversation was my son got electrocuted. And as soon as it happened, I immediately, as soon as he told me about it, remembered my own electrocution.
You should have been like, just start yelling stuff at him. Like, don't turn right on red in Illinois. Something like that.
So
that's not
never
even a
double
law.
cook a Pop-Tart. Life lessons you need to fucking know, man. So then
it's the most horrifying thing.
But like it got me thinking, like I remember, and everybody used to tell me you were too young to remember that. Yeah. I remember breaking my arm at like 4 or 5. I was like 4 easily. And I was jumping off the stairs at my grandma's house, and one of my aunts was there, and she was catching me, and it was like, yay. And she's like, I'm done. I'm not doing it again. And I ran up the stairs and jumped, and she wasn't there.
Oh, no.
And I remember, clearly remember my feet leaving the stairs and me going, I have made a fucking mistake.
Yeah.
And I hit the floor and rolled over, and I looked up from like half under the coffee table and saw everybody lose their minds. And that's it. That's the whole memory. Yeah. I remember jumping, and I remember looking up from the coffee table, and I remember like, it hurts. And that was kind of it. And everybody's like, no, you're too young to remember. You've just heard us talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I remember that.
I think there's always...
I don't remember all the other stuff.
Yeah. Parents need to know that your kids are going to remember painful things that happened to them. They're not going to remember everything. No. So just because they remember one thing doesn't mean... If I'm actually happy because Henry has told me he has like no memory of Florida because we lived there when he was 3 years old.
Right. Yeah.
He doesn't remember Florida.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember when we first moved here and all that stuff. And I'm like, good. I guess he hasn't experienced a lot of pain in his life.
Yeah.
Because I remember a lot of stuff.
Well, what's funny
I remember way too much from when I was a kid.
Like I remember these little traumatic events and different things like that. I remember my father coming home. I don't remember my father being gone.
Yeah.
I don't remember, you know what I mean? But I remember when my father came back from overseas and being so excited to finally see him, you know what I mean? And that kind of stuff. Like I remember tiny little things. When I was a kid, my dad was in the Air Force, and I was actually born in Independence, Missouri. We moved all over. I don't remember any of that shit. We lived in California. We lived in Colorado. I don't remember any of that crap.
You don't remember? You lived in California?
Mm-hmm.
That explains a lot.
But
I've seen you.
My father got stationed at Carswell Air Force Base. My first memories in Fort Worth. My first memories come from Dallas, Fort Worth.
How old were you then?
I would have been like 6.
Okay, yeah, that's about when Henry started.
And then after that, my parents, when I was about 7 or 8, my parents split up, and when my dad got out of the service, he moved back home to Kansas City. And at that point, my mom's like, fuck it, I live in Texas.
Yeah, I'm done.
And so I grew up in Texas and came up here all the time during the summers and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't remember any of that. I mean, like we lived in like several places, and I don't remember any of that.
Really painful memory I remember from when I was a kid was we were playing at this place called Carlisle Lake, which is in the metro east of Illinois. It's like east of where I grew up. It's just this big man-made lake, and we were out there, and it was around dusk. I'm running around just trying to have fun with these other kids, and I didn't know these kids, like they were my second, third cousins or whatever. Yeah. So like it was okay that I was attracted to them. And by the way, I was 17 when the story started. No, but I was 5. But I'm running around trying to play with these people I barely know, and we're playing tag, and it's dusk, so it's a little hard to see, and I'm not looking, and I'm running, and my cousin, I don't know, Bocephus, whatever, says something like, hey, Johnny. And I'm like, what? And I'm running. And what he was trying to tell me was like, look out! Because I turned my head just in time to run straight into this railroad tie that was like hanging above, like it was for like a bridge for like on this playground. Okay. And I just pow right through that with my gigantic skull. My mom was telling me this, and she said, and I'm not making this up, she said, you always talk about how big your head is. I really don't think your head was that big until that happened.
Until that day.
So I think I think that's the story. That's the origin story of my head. Every superhero needs an origin story. That's the origin story for my head. Coming up on the Jonathan Weir Show, we're going to be talking about this. The FDA has cautioned against CBD use for some reason, and I actually kind of agree with them a little bit.
The FDA cautions against
CBD use. So it's like
WTF. No, I'm sorry.
All right, we'll talk about that in a minute.
And my name is Larry.
Cody Akins at AkinsPCRepair.com. Not a sponsor of the show, but just a good friend of the show, lending us his laptop so that we can record it in the first place. And thank you so much to Cody for doing that. If you are in the market for a laptop, by the way, he's got a bunch of great refurbished laptops there. So if you want to buy a new laptop, but you don't have I need a new laptop kind of money, which I can totally understand right now.
Hi. How are you?
Go to AkinsPCRepair.com and find one of his laptops on there. They're amazing. Or go to a store in Harrisonville.
I took 2 old laptops we had that were crap. One was literally locked up with a password no one knew.
Yeah.
And the other one was so full of adware and crap. It was like under ransom crap from all the porn sites I go to. And I took them both to him. Fixed them up. They're like brand new tablets.
They're like
or laptops.
Laptops. But yeah. If he can fix Rod's computer, believe me.
Oh, yeah, it was bad.
Look, if he can fix Rod's computer, he can fix your computer at AkinsPCRepair.com.
Well, bam!
All right, we're back on the Jonathan Weir Show, Radio Free Weir Show, whatever the hell we call it, because I guarantee you in probably 2 months we're not going to be calling it the Jonathan Weir Show strictly that anymore. Probably.
We'll see what happens.
Why are you looking at me like I just stepped over the line or something?
Brought to you from right here in beautiful crime-free Grandview.
Or at least it's crime-free right here. Rod's actually looks like he's about to commit a crime. You know what used to be a crime?
What?
Marijuana. But now in a lot of places it's legal. The FDA... I'm stuck, Rod. Help me.
Stop.
Help me. Oh,
Stop
my God.
it.
I'm stuck like this. Oh, my God. Rod, help me.
Okay, that's enough of that.
Ah!
What does the FDA have to say about CBD?
If you're taking or considering CBD to cure what ails you, you may want to listen to what the FDA has to say first. They're the Food and Drug Administration. The Federal Safety Agency reports on their website that cannabinoid might not live up to the claims that could actually be damaging to your health. Further, since sold as a supplement, CBD is not regulated by the government. Some of the side effects, all of those pharmaceuticals from Purdue that are so healthy for you, the OxyContin and all of those really insanely addictive substances that are killing thousands of people a week.
Those are all regulated.
Those are regulated, but this you can't trust because how many people do you know what? I mean, vitamin D isn't, for instance, regulated because it's a supplement. So many people killing themselves over vitamin D. They take their vitamin. I need my D. I need my D. Like those Sunny D commercials, they weren't talking about Sunny D. They're talking about D.
Okay, you sound like... Never mind.
I sound like a
Stop demanding D, okay? That's going to be my advice to you.
Stop demanding D.
Is to stop asking for D. Okay?
Some of the side effects of CBD could include liver damage. Worse off, people might forego actual medical treatments, believing CBD will take care of all sorts of issues. Now, here is the one part where I actually do agree with them. That last line. Some people might forego actual medical treatments, believing CBD will take care of all sorts of issues. There was a story. I'm sorry. I'll go a second. There was a story a couple weeks ago where this kid his parents took him off of chemo and radiation because they said, "Oh, we'll just treat it with CBD." And I was talking about it when I used to have this thing called a radio show. I was talking about it, and everybody acted like I was an asshole for being like, no, the parents are insane. You can't take him off of proven therapies. I know chemotherapy is poison. I know radiation is bad for you. But CBD doesn't cure cancer. It helps. It can help, but it doesn't cure it.
Okay, here's the thing that people are misunderstanding. First of all, you're right. Chemo's horrible. It's radiation.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, chemo's not radiation. It's poison, but radiation is horrible.
Those treatments are horrible.
Yeah.
They are by definition poison. Mm-hmm. They are designed.
Bell, Biv, and Devo.
They are designed to kill the thing that's killing you.
Yeah.
it's the one thing on this planet where the cure is worse than the disease.
Except for the band The Cure. I'll stop.
You
now.
stop talking. You're about to piss me off.
I'm about to lose a tooth.
You're about to lose a tooth, bitch. So the point is, I get all that. I feel like there's a lot of people out there, and I'm assuming these parents are among them, that would have turned to pretty much anything.
Yeah.
It just happened to be CDB.
CBD.
They would have turned to pretty much anything. It just happened to be this because it was the first thing that anything I could do not to do chemo and radiation and all this shit.
Right.
I get that. But I don't think the miseducation of this is where marijuana and CDB help is with chemo and radiation.
Yes, that's what. That's all
sickness,
the point I was trying to make.
The sickness and the loss of appetite and the unfortunate side effects of chemo and radiation can be aided with marijuana and or CDB.
I've realized as I've grown older, and I believe it was actually Cody who said that this is basically my motto now, or my quote is, why not both? Because I think that too many people view the world in either or circumstances in black and white. Just because you are doing chemo doesn't mean you can't do CBD as well.
Right.
Just because you're doing CBD doesn't mean you can't do radiation or interferon or whatever you need to do. Try everything. If my kid, if Henry or Finn, God forbid, especially Henry, God forbid had cancer. Sorry, that was dark. I didn't mean to go there. I'm sorry. I love them both equally. That was horrible.
Wow.
God forbid either one of them had cancer. I would, if they said, you know what, there's studies that show that the father tearing off his scrotum and applying it, pureeing it and applying it as a salve to the kid's skin, actually for whatever reason, the stem cells in there or whatever, that actually helps with the cancer. It kills it by 10%. I would rip off my scrotum in a second. Okay, I would get really high on some really good drugs, like Kurt Cobain before he pulled the trigger high, and then rip it off. But if that's what I had to do, that's what I would do. I would do everything, including chemo and including CBD.
Right. But here again, marijuana and CDB have no effect on cancer.
Yeah.
They have effect on the sickness and the loss of appetite and the all the horrible things associated with the treatments for cancer. So they're not to replace them. They're to help you deal with them.
And as far as CBD is concerned with treating anxiety and mental health issues, I'm not going to say it's snake oil. I'm just going to say it didn't work for me.
From what I've found talking to people who do and currently do and have smoked marijuana don't care for it. It's like,
which is weird because
people that don't smoke weed have a much more, it has more of an effect on them.
But I can say this now because we don't have I don't have a corporate entity overseeing everything I do. I don't smoke pot. You know, I don't smoke pot. So I don't like CBD though. It doesn't do jack shit
but
for
you
me.
have smoked pot.
I have smoked pot, and and what has my experience been with smoking pot?
No, you were weird about it.
I'm weird. It's not. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And neither does CBD. You know what? You know what it's like to me. You know, like when there's like this new actress, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, have you seen like
Angelina Jolie.
Taylor Small or something like that?" Yeah. And oh my god, she's so hot. Have you seen her? And you look at her and you're like, I mean, like if she came into a room, I'd be like, that's a pretty attractive woman, but I'm not going. That's how I feel about marijuana and CBD. I keep looking at it, and I will take them, wishing to see what other people see in them.
That sounds awesome. I want
that. To me, they're just Jennifer Garner with the fish face. I don't get it.
Jennifer Garner's a man. The point here is
Jennifer Garner's a man, and there we go. And I'm also, by the way, sure, a very lovely person.
I'm sure. I have no doubt. I've seen her interviews. She seems awesome.
Oh, she's great. She babysat
sure
Stephen.
She's a man.
She babysat Stephen Colbert's kids.
Okay, so with the CDB, though, like I said, the people I know who have either never or almost never smoked marijuana and who are not currently smoking marijuana have taken CDB. I don't know if it's because they want it to, you know, if it's a mind over matter thing. but they all say they really like it. They enjoy the effects. They're not high, but they're calm and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I have never tried it just because I don't give a shit. And
you don't need it.
And if I need it, I can go get weed.
Yeah.
So, bleh.
So I posted this to Facebook on Monday, and I wanted to see what the 11 had to say about it. And here's what Melissa said. My stepmother uses it for back pain. It's changed her life and saved her from surgery. Many people with MS are using it to help ease symptoms from pain, muscle spasticity, seizures, and tremors. I do agree about brands that are higher quality and pure being more effective.
Oh, anything that comes out, there's going to be, generic brands and snake oil. If you take this much actual CDB and you add it to these chemicals, then now you're cutting it. It's fucking cutting cocaine with baby laxative and vitamin B.
Wow, that was very specific. Like, is that something you've done in the past?
My point is there are diluted things on the market with something that is not regulated.
This podcast today specifically being targeted at coke dealers who need some advice. Anyway, but she makes a really good point here. She says, many of us take high-risk medications every day for one health problem or another that have severe side effects. I mean, have you heard the end of any medication commercial on TV?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
This product may cause anal bleeding.
Anal bleaching. Actually, that's a good side effect.
Yeah, that would be a nice one. Yeah, for a change.
Susan said, not all CBD oil is the same. Not everybody is the same. It will work for some where it doesn't work for others. I get that. When I say it didn't work for me and it pisses me off, I'm not saying it won't work for anybody. What I'm saying is I'm pissed off that it doesn't work for me.
So you sound like me and edibles.
Yeah. Yes. Edibles don't work for me either.
We can talk about this now. I have my whole life been so pissed off about edibles because when I was 7 years old and I ate brownies not knowing what they were, I was trashed. I thought I was going to die.
We have time. It's a podcast. You want to tell that story? Well, hold on. Well,
we'll do that later.
Do that later.
So then, but since then, my whole life, anytime we went to Amsterdam, I've been in Colorado, all these different times, and people say, "Hey, dude, I have these gummies. Here's a cookie. Do you want one?" I have tried so much stuff.
They didn't need to tell you there was weed in it, though.
No, I just ate the cookie. Yeah, before they finished the sentence.
Nobody even offered you the cookie. You just saw a guy holding a cookie. Give me the cookie.
Hey, I had a cookie a minute ago. I don't know where your cookie is.
Goddamn raisins.
I don't know where your cookie is. Yeah. So anyways, it never happens. Like I'm like waiting and waiting. And I'm like, what the hell? We went to Amsterdam. My friends, should I say, that doesn't matter. My friends, Jeff and Jennifer, split a fucking pot brownie. And like 45 minutes later, we're at dinner and the two of them are staring at a candle like they're watching the most fascinating episode of MASH ever recorded.
Yeah.
They're just staring at this candle. I'm like, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
They're like, huh? Not only should you not be staring at a candle, for your vision's sake, you're staring at a fucking candle. I ate the same one, the one they split. I ate the whole one.
Thing
and I'm sitting there like, God damn it, this is bullshit.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just different chemistries, biology. Samuel says, I take everything the FDA says with an entire shaker of salt. Well, the FDA actually recommends against
a pinch of salt. I think it's a pinch of salt,
but not an entire shaker. Yeah. What are you out of your mind, Samuel?
Not an entire.
What are you out of your damn mind, Samuel? Hey, you want to start yelling people's names?
Oh, yeah.
We need to do that on Patreon. We'll just do a couple right now. Let's Jennifer Miller.
Jennifer Miller!
Okay. We also have Brandy.
Should we yell them? Or should
how about we do it on three?
Okay. What, Brandy?
Yeah, Brandy. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Brandy! Or should we do I feel like, here's Brandy. Oh, wait, am I going to
do? Okay, Karen, I thank you so much for your $25. And by the way, the way this works is if you give us $25 on the Patreon for the Jonathan Weir Show, just search for Weir Show Patreon, and you can help us keep this going. You can subscribe to the show. It's member supported, only good. Karen, I don't know how to say your last name, but it is spelled Durrer, which is Durer. Karen Durer.
Durer. I'm sorry.
There's
to make
no way
fun
to
of
say
name.
I'm sure you know your last name sucks. I know my last name sucks, so you must
It's
know.
like Hafar.
Daniel Abar.
Bar.
Daniel Abar.
Daniel Abar.
And John.
Let me take you to a gay bar.
Daniel
gay bar.
Abar. And John Rivas, I think is how you say his name.
John Rivers.
John
Rivers.
There you go. If you want us to yell your name, you want to control our mouths for the night, then you got to give us $25 on Patreon.
You give me $25, you could control my mouth. See what I'm saying? The whole mouth.
We'll
the
be
mouth
back.
hole.
We'll be back in a second. Happy birthday to you. All right, I'm hesitant to say this, Rod, because the last time I said this when I came back, I was fired from my job. But you want to take a trip to Florida? A Florida man was arrested after lighting firecrackers under a sleeping child's bed. Now, let me ask you something. We always used to play this game on the show called Florida, Russia, or Australia.
Yeah.
If I had done that beforehand,
I'd have said Florida.
You would have said Florida. Firecrackers, first of all, it's too cold for firecrackers in Russia. You try to light them and nothing lights.
Yeah, fire doesn't work.
And when they explode, Vladimir Putin just comes out of the smoke and pulls you into hell. That's how fireworks work in Russia. In Australia,
the noise attracts the bears.
In Australia, they could have done it, but it probably would have just been to scare off like a spider cloud or some kind of five-headed snake with dicks for mouths that's underneath the bed.
What the fuck?
Have you not been to Australia and seen what they have?
No,
it's
won't
horrible
go there because
Holy
of the spider
God.
clouds and the drop bears.
Anyway, this happened in Florida.
And they have bats that are like 4 feet tall.
A Florida man may have thought it was funny to light off a string of firecrackers next to a sleeping child, but no one is laughing. Matthew Morrison now faces several charges, including child cruelty for Saturday's incident, which he claims was just a prank gone wrong. Man, that actually, you know what? We're going to make this a regular segment.
Prank gone wrong.
Prank gone wrong. I guarantee you I could do a Google News search for that term prank gone wrong and come up with all sorts of great stuff.
Remember the dude that called that was going to what was it? He was going to stick a knife in a fruit and leave it on the guy's counter.
Yes.
And he ended up cutting himself.
Cutting
there
himself.
Was blood everywhere.
I'm sure it was ER or not. Yeah.
God, I love that story.
Anyways, he said it was a prank gone wrong. According to police, 44-year-old man... I have to tell you guys, when I'm prepping the show and I'm looking for stuff to talk about, there's certain lines that I'm looking for that when I read, I go, we have to talk about this now.
Okay.
We have to talk about this now. According to the police, the 44-year-old who lived in a tent outside the family's home came inside and tossed the incendiary device under the 9-year-old girl's bed, leaving her unhurt but terrified.
Okay, wait, stop.
Yep.
Wait.
No, listen. Wait, no, you have to hear the rest. You have to hear the rest of this. Morrison was then chased by the father with a stick. Oh my God.
Okay, wait. What?
Okay, let me recap. Let me recap for those who tune out when I start reading.
The man lived in a tent.
Yes.
Outside of this family's home.
Right. And
they have not yet in this article said he was related to any of these people.
I think they were letting him live back there because they didn't say he was related. He was a friend of the father's maybe, but he came into the house, lit firecrackers, and threw them under a 9-year-old girl's bed.
Sleeping girl's bed.
And then was chased around the house by the father wielding a stick. Who has a stick in their house? Because they're not saying baseball bat. They're not saying machete. They're not saying baton or hockey. A stick.
Yeah. Well, it is Florida. So I think they keep it's either a poop stick or it's like an alligator stick.
Okay.
So when gators come in the house.
I'm going to ask you this. How much meth? How much meth did they find? How much? How much are you going to guess?
A lot? A little? I don't know. I'm sure.
No, just guess poundage.
Poundage?
No. Guess grams.
I'm sure they found at least an 8 ball.
2 grams. of methamphetamine
so
while
not
taking him
quite an
into
April.
custody. What I find funny about that, though, is whenever they're like, oh, whenever you read a story and they're like, they found 5 grams of whatever or 5 pounds of something, I'm always like, okay, either that guy wasn't like he was a dealer and was distributing it, and so he probably wasn't on it, or if they only find 2 grams, what happened to the rest of it?
Yeah, no.
I bet it didn't start off as 2 grams.
No, that's what was left.
Yeah.
That's what was left.
To be fair, if you were living in a tent in somebody's backyard that you weren't even related to in Florida, telling me you wouldn't be on meth?
That's why you live in a
That's
tent.
why.
Wow,
Also, can that replace the Chris Farley bit? I live in a van down by the river as the
live in a
saddest
tent
thing
in your backyard.
a man in his 40s can say. I live in a tent in my friend's backyard.
We don't even know that they were friends. It was just a dude. Like, hey, there's a dude in a
Don't
in a
mess
tent
with
in
him.
the
Don't mess with him.
backyard.
Just don't talk. Don't make eye contact with him.
Don't
They're
look
so
at him.
used to that in Florida. Whenever they see like a predator, they're always like, "Hey, but just don't look at it.
Just don't look at it.
Don't look at it. Maybe we'll call
If
the
you
cops.
make eye contact, you have to fight.
Look, if it starts coming towards the house, we'll call the cops. But just leave it. It'll just go on its own way. It'll just meander into the creek
Whether it's a meth head or a gator
or a
whatever.
meth head gator.
Those are the worst.
Oh no, those are the best. I mean, only if you hate Floridians, which I do. So,
Plus, if you throw them like $10, they'll go away.
oh yeah, all right.
Good Lord.
Have you ever lived in a tent? Have you ever come close to living in a tent?
No.
That seems to be the thing now. Remember, we had a caller to this thing we used to do. She said her ex-husband.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They had split up.
They'd split up, and he was living in a tent in his
out back.
parents' backyard.
Because they wouldn't let him move in either.
Yeah, because she said he's living in a tent. I was like, oh, it's sad. He's homeless. And then she's like, in his parents' backyard. And I was like, no, that's funny now. And it's different, right? I feel bad for you if you live in a tent like on some abandoned property somewhere or in a tent on the sidewalks of Seattle.
Yeah, but you have a tent. Somebody's going to cut you for that tent. There's somebody that ain't got a tent that's like, why do you get a tent? I want a tent.
I said there's levels to poverty, right? Because it used to be you lived in a cardboard box. Now they live in tents. So all I'm saying is America is improving. Stop criticizing it with your bullshit. Oh, we need social justice.
Coleman is doing all they can for the homeless.
Homeless. I don't know.
I'm from it, you dummy.
So, okay, I want to tell you about. You've heard me many times mention my brother in Texas, my brother Justice.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you how he became my brother Justice.
Oh, okay.
It's not like the normal way your brother becomes your brother. Anyways, it
You
didn't.
mean you're born to the same?
Yeah, no, that didn't happen.
Okay.
So, when I was about 8 years old, my mother started. She became apartment manager. And she was immediately really good at it. And she was really good at taking just shithole properties and turning them around.
By the way, that needs to be a show
What?
on HGTV. Shithole property.
Shithole properties.
I'm tired of seeing all these opulent, nice, suburban, $100 million houses.
That would be a better show.
That would
Here's
be a
the
much
deal.
better show.
I can only get approved for $65,000 and I need a place to live yesterday.
Do you have a place without rats? That's all I want to know. No? Okay, then how many rats?
Is it a lot of
I'll take up to 10. I will take up to 10, but that's it. Okay, you have 12, fine. Fuck it. 10, 12's fine. 12's fine. 12 rats, fine.
So she would take
shithole
properties and turn them around. She was amazing at it. As a kid, it took me a long time to understand why we were always moving out of nice properties, apartment complexes, and moving into shitty apartment complexes. Like, it never made sense to me.
Yeah.
And then about the time it was a really nice place to live, we had to move again, and I didn't get that. But that's what she did for a living.
Sure.
So anyways, we moved into this property, new school, and actually, no, this was after that. We moved from a property to a house for the first time in my life. At the age of 13, we moved into a house. I'd always lived in apartments or townhomes or something like that. Went to the new school that year, and at 13 years old, I met this kid named Justice, and Justice was terrifying.
You know what I like about Justice, though? His name is spelled Justus, right?
No, Justice.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So, Justice was the meanest fucking kid in our school. Everybody was terrified of Justice. And if you spoke to him wrong, he would just beat the shit out of you. Like literally, honest to God, I've said it before. I've only known a few true tough guy badasses in my life, and Justice is two of them.
Right.
So we hit it off. We became friends. We started hanging out, and my mother.
Wait, I love that you just seamlessly transitioned from he used to beat the living crap out of everybody, everybody in school. So anyway, we became best friends.
Yeah, like immediately.
Because you hated everybody at the school. What's the story there?
Because
you don't go. Oh, Paul and John went to the same high school together. They hated each other anyway. So the Beatles sold 100 million records.
So we met. Like I said, I was 13. We were both 13 years old. He was the scary tough guy at the school. Had already been going there. I just started, and as the kid that just started, I was like, whoa. I should probably be friends with that guy because I don't want to piss him off.
Right.
So I spoke to him and we became friends because not many people did speak to him because they were terrified of him.
Yeah, yeah.
So we became friends and started hanging out. So my mother's home one day in our house by herself and she gets a phone call. I don't know if she was in a bad mood. I don't know if she was in a good mood. I don't know what was going on, but I know that she gets a phone call from our school counselor. And our school counselor says to my mother, I've noticed that your son has been hanging around with this Justice kid. This kid, he's a bad seed. He's a bad element. And you should not let your son hang out with him. Mm-hmm. Your son he's a good kid. He's a nice kid, but he's got some discipline problems. And him hanging out with this Justice kid is not going to help things.
Yeah.
It's only going to make things worse for your son. Mm-hmm. My mom lost her shit on the student counselor. She basically said, well, maybe this kid just needs someone to give him a fucking break.
Wow.
And maybe if the school counselor wasn't calling people and saying, don't let your kid hang out with this kid wouldn't be so bad.
Wow.
Maybe part of his problem is assholes like you fucking with him.
Wow, way to go, Mom.
And like lost her shit on this woman. I, at the time, had no idea this conversation had taken place. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my mom starts including Justice in things. Mm-hmm. And so like when we would go to do something or whatever, she'd be like, why don't you call your friend Justice, see if he wants to go. I'm like, okay. And, so we started hanging out a lot. And then about a year later, when we were 14... my mother went to Justice's house, unbeknownst to us, knocked on the door and explained to Justice's mother, you suck. You are not good at this. And he lives with us now.
Wow.
And she went, okay.
No.
And that was it.
Didn't even fight her on it.
And to this day, Justice is my brother, period. End of discussion. He's family. And he's lived with us ever since. And it's just one of those things. Now, Justice is about to get married. I talk sometimes about my mother and I joke about shit growing up. My mother's awesome.
Yeah.
And my mother just bought me tickets as a birthday gift for me and a wedding gift for Justice for me to fly to Vegas to go to Justice's wedding next month. So I'm really excited about that. And it's just awesome. I just want to tell you the story about how Justice became my brother and about why I think my mom is so awesome.
Can I say that that's something you and I have in common? And I think maybe what most people other than Justice have in common is you and I both have great moms.
Yeah.
Like your dad's great too.
Oh, yeah.
But mine isn't. Your mom, however, is great. So is my mom. And I really think that has sometimes more of an effect on people than we realize. For some reason, with men, with boys, we always tend to fixate on their relationship with their father. Like people, when I tell them about my dad, and my dad wasn't abusive per se, he's just weird and like kind of a dick. But it and I have anxiety issues, but my whole family
Oh, yeah.
Not just people raised by my dad, but my whole family has anxiety. My grandmother obviously wasn't raised by my dad. I would be pretty messed up if my grandma had anxiety issues because of her son.
Yeah.
No, actually, my dad is bad enough that I could see her like, oh, God, I was fine until that guy came along. Point is, but I would have had anxiety issues no matter what.
Yeah.
But I'm a good person, and I live up to the standard that my mother set for me at a very young age, more so than my dad, because that is the person I want to be, even though she's a woman.
Yeah.
There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think, what would my mom do, or how would my mom react to this? And it's frustrating to me because my mom is just one of these naturally positive,
Yes.
just vibrating with good energy of people.
My mother,
and I am not that. I am not vibrating with energy. I am shuddering with darkness. So
I am terrified and under the bed.
Yeah, but I call my mom. And it's honestly, I've been calling her like twice a day since all this shit went down last week.
My mother,
and it is, if I didn't have that woman in my life right now, I would not be here recording with you. I'd be in bed at home crying.
My mother swears like a sailor.
Yeah.
She's gotten better.
Mine
about
does not. In fact, she doesn't like the
age.
fact that we cuss so much on this podcast.
My mother swears like a sailor. Her anger word that you always knew she was angry to the point of you're going to get a beating is when she screamed the word motherfucker. And like there were times Justice and I'd be in the other room eating chips or watching TV or whatever, and we'd hear motherfucker. We're like, get your shit. Come on, let's go. So yeah, my mother swore like a sailor. She has her faults like anybody, but she is a good, awesome lady. And I always, what's my mother gonna say? That's the first thought is like, oh fuck. When I quit my job, like I know what she's gonna say. Get a job before you quit a job. It rhymes, so you remember it, motherfucker. Job
does rhyme with job.
Anyways.
Your mother's Eminem, by the way. He pulled that stuff so often. People are like, oh, Eminem's a genius lyricist. He rhymed most words with the same word. Don't act like he's a genius for doing that.
He rhymed orange. Yeah, with orange.
Yeah, that's not hard. People always say you can't rhyme orange with anything. I rhymed it with orange. No!
So anyways, there's a very good reason that the two terms mama's boy and daddy's girl.
Yes.
Those exist because people assume the man and the son, the mother and the daughter. When people find out they're going to have a baby, women are like, "Oh, I'll have a little girl,
little princess,"
and men are like, "Oh, I'm going to have a son. He's my boy."
Right.
And don't get me wrong, that's true. But at some point, the thing that holds most true is a mama's boy and a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
And at some point, especially women, start to fucking fight with their mothers all the time.
Oh, and
boys do it with their dads. It's a thing because we expect certain things or they expect certain things, and it's so that's where that.
Why is that? Why
I don't know. It's
weird.
It's
You're
something
right.
that happens for.
You know what it is? Here's what it is. It's because the mom doesn't understand why the girl is acting the way she is, whereas the dad understands. Oh, bitches are crazy.
Well, then
the mom's the same way. The mom's like. Oh, the dad's like, why is he like this?
Yeah.
And the mom's like,
oh, cut him some
because
slack.
all guys are dicks.
Yeah. No,
of course
it's
he's an asshole.
true.
All
it's
guys are dicks.
True.
Yeah.
And as men, we expect certain things. And women are quicker to go, you know what, it's okay.
Yeah. So.
You don't have to be that or do that. Yeah, it is what it is.
Anyway, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. A little belated, but happy Mother's Day. And we're back on the Jonathan Weir Show with a very special guest. Her name is... What is your name again?
How long am I going to be a special guest? Forever?
For as long as you want to be, I guess.
Dos Becos.
I mean, you're always going to be special.
Every time I'm a guest, I'm special.
Right. Every time you're... And not in a good way. Like in the bad kind of way special.
My mama said I'm special.
Your mom said that there's nothing wrong with your brain your heart can't fix. And...
Unless your heart is dead.
Yeah.
But you know what? When something's dead, beautiful things can grow out of it. So even though your heart's dead, there's flowers growing.
Wow.
Anyway, we're going to do a John Jury is what we're going to do now with special guest Rebecca Crockett. The John Jury this week comes from a young lady named Brooke, who has a problem with her boyfriend. She says, I really like my boyfriend. Okay, I seem like I'm lying now. See? Way to set me up to lie, Brooke. Bitch.
Okay. Wow.
I really like my boyfriend a lot, but I have to dump him, I think, because I just can't get over this one thing he does.
Oh, is it with his thumb? He's like always reach with the thumb.
I thought that was what it was going to be, but no.
Because a lot of people
We're not
don't
that
like
kind of
that.
show.
A lot of people don't like
Stop
the
it.
thumb.
And I don't know how to tell him without hurting his feelings. So I think it would be best to make up an excuse and move on. Here's what he does. He kisses his parents on the lips. Not a deep, sexy kiss, which obviously.
No, I'm glad she clarified
So
that.
not like
Yeah,
Ferris
because
Bueller.
that's a deal breaker right
That
there.
was totally what I was picturing.
But he kisses both his mom and his dad
On the lips.
on the lips. It's the most disgusting,
And obviously, this is a grown man.
gross thing I've ever seen. It happens when we see them the first time and when we say goodbye. I can't stand it. I have fun with him about it, but I can't imagine a future with this guy or his creepy family. Am I being petty? That's
Wow.
from Brooke,
Yeah.
who says she's number 13 of 11. Well, Brooke, let's just
That's pretty good.
first of all, there can't be 13 and 11. And also,
Yeah, that's not possible.
there also shouldn't be kissing on the lips in a family. I'm just going to say it right now.
Okay,
I'm just going to say it right now.
okay.
What you do in your own house is fine. I'm not going to judge you. So long as it's consensual, fine. But
Oh my gosh.
I am going to say this. If you're kissing your kids above the age of, I'm going to be generous, above the age of 12, on the lips in public, you have to know you're making people uncomfortable. I get it. It's an expression of love, but people aren't willing to accept it yet. It's weird. People think that there's something going on in that family, and I would never do it.
Yeah, but
Oh
obviously,
my gosh, I have an opposite opinion here. Shocker.
I'm so surprised.
I think this shows that it's a really solid, close family. Nothing weird is going on here.
Affectionate, close family.
It's not something I feel comfortable with doing myself, but I wouldn't blink at it if somebody else did that.
So if you saw what's the cutoff? So if you saw me with one of my sons, and I was like, "Hey, Henry, come over here," and then I give him a kiss on the lips, that's fine if it's just a peck. What if I go,
that's
"Hey, Henry,
cool.
come here," and it's like 3 seconds later?
If your mouth is open, it's not okay.
No, not open mouth. We're just pressing our faces against each other.
Oh my God, this is getting so weird.
I just want to know what the cutoff is.
Okay, but like if the kid was holding your face and like purposely smashing his mouth into yours, that's okay because that's what kids do. But if you were doing that, that's not okay.
Little kids. This is an adult man.
Yeah, it's got to be a quick peck.
A quick peck, I'm fine with. She says it's not a deep kiss, but they are kissing on the lips. I'm just saying, if there's a saliva bridge between the two of them,
Really?
Gosh.
that saliva bridge is a bridge I will not cross.
Okay, the two of you, stop.
That is
stop,
the bridge
stop
over the
it.
river incest.
Stop it.
Are you talking about like the saliva string? Are you
Yes,
calling that a
yes.
saliva? Okay.
Saliva
Yes,
bridge.
that's what he means.
Well,
so
that happens with children all the time.
Ah,
a child with a cold kissing you. It's like
oh.
That's
a
called
glazed
snot.
donut monster.
That's
So,
a whole different
listen,
bridge.
Listen, okay. I agree that it is wonderful for a family to be that affectionate and to have that close of a bond. I also agree that it's kind of weird to kiss on the lips.
Yes.
Obviously, any kiss that lasts more than a peck is weird, John. Okay? I don't care if it's open mouth
I
or
just
not.
want to know where the line
Yeah,
is.
you know where the line
I don't know
is.
where the line is.
Why are you asking where the line is,
fucking
Jonathan?
freak.
It seems like you want to tiptoe around that
No,
line.
I'm not wanting to tiptoe around the line. I'm asking you if you think, because I don't think it's
I would
okay.
consider-
If you think it's okay, at what point are you like, that's not okay? What's the difference between a peck and a long lingering kiss?
I do agree.
I think we all know the difference between a peck and a long lingering kiss.
There.
All right.
I agree that after the age of 12, it does seem a little strange.
Uh-huh.
However, if you just move over to like the side of the mouth, you know, that little side mouth thing that you do.
Well, sometimes grandma doesn't have good
little
aim.
Bing Crosby action. Just
Yeah. But at the same time, that's your family, man. And if that's how you express affection, fine, so be it. I don't think it's really a deal breaker thing for a relationship. If it is, then by all means, get out, because otherwise it's always going to bug you. And if you're finding, don't get me wrong, I don't mean this to be cruel, but if you're finding something like that, as little as that, to be something that you don't think you can deal with, then obviously you shouldn't be with this person.
Right.
Anyways.
Well, I was going to ask you.
I think Brooke's making other excuses for not wanting to be in this
Yeah,
relationship.
I think so too.
I think so too. That's what we deal with a lot on the John Jury. Is this person's like, he's driving me crazy because he blinks too much or whatever.
Oh, that is annoying.
I sat there and counted with the timer.
That frequent blinking.
Fucking blinker.
He never blinks ever. He's like an old man driving.
Also a
Now that would be
problem.
weirder.
Like an old
If
man
you know
driving in
somebody that
Florida,
just
never
looks at
blinks.
you without blinking, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're drying my eyes out. Stop it.
That's why I never make eye contact. Not because I'm shy and on,
Because you don't blink well.
because I don't want people to see how awkwardly I blink. I can't do it. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. You're going to have to notice it next time you see me, but I don't blink one eye at a time. I have to blink across. I'm sorry, I don't
That's
blink.
weird.
I don't blink two
That's
eyes
weird
at a
and
time.
annoying.
But I swear to God, this is how I've always been. It's one eye and then it's left and right. I'm not
Because
kidding.
that's how you always been.
Like
doesn't
some
mean that's
sort
how
of
you need to
broken
be.
animatronic.
Yeah.
Animatronic.
You know what?
Animatronic.
You can
You know
change,
what's,
Jonathan.
you know what's horrible? What we're doing to the audience right now?
What?
We're
What?
making you think about blinking. At least we're not making them thinking about breathing, like how you go in
Well,
and
now we are.
out, and how if you don't keep breathing, you'll die.
Hey,
Oh my gosh.
hey, every stoner at some point in their life has smoked too much weed and sat there thinking that if I stop thinking about breathing, I'm going to stop doing it and then I'm going to die.
All right. Anyway, it's not up to us on this here. It's up to the audience. And I posted this question on the Jonathan Weir Show Facebook page. We got a ton of responses. Jordan says this: Tom Brady kisses his kids on the lips, so I think that verifies that this is totally wrong. But
point.
that he has the potential to win 6 Super Bowls, wait for him to get rich, sign a prenup, then dump him.
No, don't.
The only valid option here, to be honest. Yeah, so let him win a Super Bowl and then dump his ass.
Yeah.
But agreed, it is creepy. That's one for creepy. Christiana, I think, says not Christiana says not creepy. What an excuse to break it off. I wish my mom and dad were still alive to kiss them on the lips. Well, Christiana, I'd like to see a picture of your mom.
Okay.
Okay, let's just keep going there, sicko. You're just gone weird, man.
Well, I don't have anybody looking over my shoulder. It's
Is it
great.
the fumes in Rod's basement?
Actually, we're in his kitchen now, and yes, it is. Joseph said she doesn't want to be in a relationship with him. She's just looking for an easy out. So just end it. Tell yourself that was the reason why, and it will help with mental clarity. However, we all know the truth. So I'm assuming that's 2 votes in a row.
Yes,
for not creepy. You're just being judgmental
you're
because
being
you
a
want out of the
little
relationship. Let's see.
That's kind of what I said. Look, if that's why you want to end it, then obviously you just want to end it.
Bill says, I think it's absolutely disgusting. Any family that does that should have CPS called on them yesterday.
My gosh.
That's a little extreme.
Okay, well, that's 2 votes for creepy. So this last one decides it. Jennifer says, totally overreacting. I still kiss my family members on the lips. It isn't sexual at all. And people who make it sexual are disgusting and disrespectful. For us, it's a sign of affection and respect. Chill it out and learn to understand that people show love to each other in different ways. Everyone needs to grow up.
So what she's saying is it's not his problem, it's your problem.
Jennifer, I'd also like
So
to see a
Brooke's
picture of
gonna
your
have
mom.
to.
Stop that!
So Brooke's gonna have to come up with another reason to break up with him.
She's just
that's
break
good
up
enough.
with him and
She
say that's the reason.
Look, do women really need a reason to break up with a guy?
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
how many?
Gotta
how
make
many,
up some excuse.
How
when
many?
you text them the
I've actually
breakup
wondered this,
text.
Rebecca. How many
Whoa,
people have
wait,
you?
stop. No, stop.
What?
Did you hear what this woman just
what
said?
did she say?
She says you have to have some excuse
We can just move on.
for when you put in the breakup text.
All right, Taylor Swift. Rebecca, how many men have you broken up with? How many hearts have you broken?
It's
let's
countless.
see. Off the
It's
top of my
countless.
head, I would say
163.
4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Liar.
And you got married when you were 19? Strumpet. Jeez.
I started
Here's
dating
the
in
thing.
middle school.
There wasn't much to do in
I mean,
Omaha.
4
I
or
understand.
5. If I started dating in middle school, 4 or 5 guys I dated isn't a lot.
It's a lot.
The way I understand it, Rebecca was with a lot of guys, but she never went very far.
Oh, wow.
According to those guys.
According to those guys.
We talked to them. You were real stuck up, apparently.
I broke up with Bob because he had bad breath.
Is that
He was my first junior high boyfriend.
Is that the most like Seinfeld-esque reason that you've ever broken up with somebody? Like the most petty reason that you broke up with somebody with the bad breath?
One guy told his mom he wanted to marry me, and his parents called my parents, and my mom told me that, and it freaked me out, and I broke up with him.
Yeah, no, that's sad.
I was in high school.
No.
Still.
I didn't mean you were wrong. I mean, I feel bad for that guy. You were 100% right, but jeez.
He's like, really, Mom? Really?
Yeah, you told her I wanted to. And you know what that probably was? It was probably his mom was like, so you really like that Rebecca girl, huh? You're like, yeah, she's pretty cool. You should marry her. I know. You want to marry her, don't you? I don't know, Mom. Maybe someday.
Mom's fault.
And then Mom called your mom and then ruined it.
I had kind of a similar experience though. I dated a girl. She was the first serious redheaded girlfriend I ever had, and I really liked her. And her name was Rachel, and we dated, and it was going really well. And she was swell. And I met her
at a well.
Yes,
where she was ringing a bell.
It was going really well, and she was
listening
swell.
to Adele.
The point is, I went to her house and I
Taco
met
Bell?
her parents, and they were really cool. And her dad and I hit it off, and he was kind of a big guy, kind of a long-haired guy that liked music. And we talked, and her mom was really cool. And that very night, we were in the kitchen. I was helping her mom clean up, after dinner, and we were chatting. And she kind of giggled, and she said, it's funny because you're a lot like my husband when he was your age. And we met when we were about the same age and, started dating. And then we ended up getting married and stuff. And then here's you and Rachel. And wow, it's kind of funny. And by the end of it, I was like, I cannot get the fuck out of here fast enough. Seriously, I don't think I ever called her again. Yeah. And I felt bad later. But at the time, I was like, nope, this bitch is putting a tux on me. I am not doing this.
I will not be held down.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. How old were you?
17.
17.
16,
You know what's
17.
funny is after Katie and I dated for a year, everybody we knew was like, oh, they're going to get married. Like we never said it because it's like, why would you go around like that?
Yeah, but
our parents, all of our friends were like, but John and Katie.
That's because your parents and her parents were separately going to like therapists going, I don't think he's ever going to date anyone. Like she won't talk to boys.
Yeah.
He is there's something wrong with him. Like there's something wrong with him. Every time a girl comes around, he just goes,
hey, that's not true.
Starts doing that weird blinking
every time
thing.
He's always blinking, and every time a girl says hi, John, he goes.
You're insulting me so bad. I'm going to start blinking right to left now. All right,
stop it! It's freaking me out.
You like it.
And then when the two of you actually started dating someone, everybody's like, "Oh my god, this is it! They're going to get married and be together forever." Guess what?
We are.
They were right.
They were right about that one.
But didn't you want to prove everybody wrong and like not get married?
Kick her ass to the curb at some point? No, because I don't know.
Only right before I walked out onto that beach in Florida where we got married. Then I thought, fuck this.
Yeah, you both know how incredibly lazy I am, right? Especially when it comes to meeting people and relationships. I lucked out. Because I don't with Katie, I don't feel like getting a new person. But honestly, she could be so much worse, and I would put up with it because I'd be like, well, What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Go on Tinder? I don't know what people even do anymore. I'm so terrified that woman's going to leave me, and I'll be back to being 16 years old, going up to girls, going like, boobs? Shit! I didn't mean to say boobs! I didn't mean to say that first! Ah, no!
Boobs.
Anyway, so the consensus is, Brooke,
boobs.
You can go ahead and break up with him.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was the
but
consensus.
it's not creepy for him to kiss his parents on the lips. You're judgmental, and how dare you? I will also tell you this. I agree with you 100%. It's weird, and I'm not. There's no rationale for it. I'm just having an emotional reaction to it.
Telling you, he's just telling you he thinks it's weird. I think you're looking for a reason to break up with him, so just do it.
Speaking of emotional reactions, in just a minute, we're going to come back with Rebecca Crockett's Celebrity Rocket.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
And we're back on the Jonathan Weir Show. Hey, Rebecca, I know on Wednesdays you and your buddy Nathan always record a podcast, and last week's podcast of the Nathan and Beck Show is something that everybody should listen to, especially me several times over and over again with candles lit, because every time I feel like I'm at a low point, and I honestly do mean this. When I listen to it, I listened to it, I was crying, and I was listening to it feeling
I was crying too.
Like you were saying things to me that you did not intend for me to hear, but I can't tell you how much I do appreciate you saying those things, even if you didn't think that I was ever going to hear them.
Yeah, because I said I would never actually say those things to your face.
Yeah. Why would you be nice to my face? That's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy.
Never do
Anyway.
that.
I don't think there's one big head joke in that entire podcast.
Well,
now
then
I'm really
you're
disappointed
doing it
about.
wrong.
All right, so the Nathan and Beck's podcast, just Google it. Nathan and Beck's podcast. It is a very funny, very good show. You should check it out, especially if you love Rebecca Crockett just like we do. All right.
And the last one has a lot less crying than the previous.
Oh, that's good. So only like 45 minutes of crying versus 55 full minutes of crying. All right, it's time.
Dwight Schrute life skill quotes in between all that crying.
It's time.
Okay, go for it.
It's time. It's time.
Okay, you ready? Okay, on the count of 3.
1,
2,
3. It's time to take a ride on Rebecca Crockett's Celebrity Rocket.
So this is gossip.
That's pretty good.
Blast off!
Hey, Rebecca, what's up?
I have bad news.
What's the bad news?
Why is there bad news?
Rip Torn is dead.
Oh, R.I.P. R.I.P.
That is actually sad. I
Yeah,
like that dude.
I really did, too.
I understand he had some
He was crazy
personal
towards the end.
issues.
Yeah.
And
That's what it
a
sounds
little
like.
problem
Yeah.
with the sauce.
Yeah, he made it to 88 years old, though. So there's that.
You know what I've started to realize, because we're seeing so many celebrities live until they're either in their 90s or very close to their 90s. Money does solve all of your problems. Apparently, because you don't. When was the last time? David Bowie is the only one I can think of that died in their 60s. He was like 68 or something, right? 67?
Magic Johnson rubbed money on his junk, cured his AIDS.
Wow.
Rip Torn broke into a bank one time. And by the way, if you don't know who Rip Torn is,
He was Zed.
He was Zed.
He was in Men in Black.
He was on Men in Black. He was also what was the guy? Scooter McGavin. No, that isn't it. In
No.
Dodgeball.
Yes.
Who was he in Dodgeball?
Oh, what was his name?
If you can-
Patches O'Houlihan.
Patches O'Houlihan. I was so close with Shooter McGavin. I was close. Patches O'Houlihan. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
He was also Zeus in Hercules.
Which her? Oh, in the
Disney.
animated. You're right. Had a great voice. He was also on 30 Rock. He was very good on that. He was in trouble about 10 years ago for breaking into a bank.
I love that.
Yeah,
man.
he was drunk.
Yeah.
He was drunk when he did
Yeah.
that. I don't know if that surprises you at all.
Police found him inside of the branch of the Litchfield Bank Corp after the alarm went off. According to the police report, the Oscar-nominated actor was almost 3 times over the drink drive limit. What?
I think there was supposed to be an and in there.
Yeah. He was charged with carrying a pistol without a permit, carrying a firearm while intoxicated, first-degree burglary, first-degree criminal trespass, and finally, my favorite charge of all, and if I live to be 88 years old, I hope I at least get charged with this once, third-degree criminal mischief. I just want to be charged with mischief. I'm a mischievous
But he
guy.
thought it was his home, guys, because that's where there's a lot of money there. And he's like, I go where the money is. And so he's like, this is my home.
So he died.
Really?
Yeah, he seriously thought it was his home.
What did he die of? Did they say?
He died of being ripped torn.
He died of just that. That's enough. Like you only get in 88 years.
We're just going to say there was a lot of chemicals in his body over the years.
I was going to say,
and
a lot more now that he's dead.
His first and last name are both things you use to describe being drunk.
Ripped and torn. It's also really, when you think about it, a redundant name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ripped
be like
torn.
be like named Whitey McBeige.
Or, I don't know, Rod Babcock.
All right. Well, R.I.P. R.I.P. What else you got?
Mariah Carey. She's almost 50 years old.
Really?
Her voice is almost 70.
Yeah.
She's 49. And
I honestly thought she was older. Doesn't make me feel old. I thought she was older than that.
I remember watching her on MTV when I was probably junior high or early high school.
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember thinking that she was the coolest, like, prettiest girl, and I wanted to be like her.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Okay, if you say so. I always kind of thought...
I remember thinking about that.
I always thought that she was just somebody who would come in handy if your garage door was stuck, because you could play her music and make the alarm go off. It would make the alarm... Make the door go up.
Hell?
She sang it super sonic,
I know.
she hit pitches that you couldn't hear.
I was never a fan of her stuff. I never cared that much for her. Never really had an opinion on her. And then, do you remember MTV Cribs?
Yeah.
She was on MTV Cribs in a bathtub in her own house, wearing lingerie, taking a bath.
That's
and
weird.
I decided, this chick is cuckoo in the coconut, and I don't give a shit what happens to her.
You know what would be great is if somebody went in, and because I remember that episode of Cribs, but if somebody would, like, you had, I don't know, like Patton Oswalt or something. They did an MTV Cribs, Patton Oswalt.
Yes.
And he just did the exact same stuff as Mariah
That
Carey.
would have been awesome.
Here's
That would have been
all
the
of my
best
gold
one.
records because I am a diva, so I want to show off my gold, my bling. I'm going to take a bath in champagne and lingerie. That's what I want.
Okay, so anyway, in a new interview with Cosmo, she says she actually hasn't been with that many people in her lifetime.
Oh, okay.
For a celebrity, she's only been with like 5 people.
Wow. So not even as many as you then, huh?
I think she's lying.
I think she's lying too. Well, what does she consider being with somebody? Is she just talking
Well,
about...
I don't think she's counting all the times her manager sold her to people to get her on the radio.
Well, she mentioned that she's kind of a prude. So in being with somebody, I would guess it's somewhere along the lines of sexual activity. Yeah. I'm just guessing. She also is saying girls these days have it easy when it comes to making it in the pop world because she had to work really hard as a young girl, not just like go on YouTube and sing.
Yeah, no, her throat got a real workout. It's true.
Okay.
Well, I bet she had to sing a lot. Jesus, what is wrong with you two?
All I'm saying is, I
What
don't
is
think
you
it's
guys are
easy for
filthy.
anybody to make it these days, and you don't just go on YouTube and start singing and all.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. It's actually harder now because you have so much crap to cut through. Yeah,
more competition out there.
And I think she's lying. I don't think she worked hard. I literally think that she had a pedophile for a manager, and he made sure she had a career.
Yeah.
You want to talk about butthole eyes?
Are we still talking about Mariah Carey? Is that what she did?
No.
Is that
I'm moving on to another story.
Is that part of her career?
Butthole eyes.
Butthole eyes. Anyway, wait, hold on.
Ariana Grande.
Yeah, fine.
Are you still talking?
Stop. How fucked up do you got to be before someone refers to you as fucked up, as butthole eyes? Like, if you got to be pretty, like, dude, that dude,
Ron,
he's,
it's a condition.
you're not even shit-faced anymore. He's butthole
No,
eyes.
he was shit-faced. That's why he's butthole eyes.
Now he's butthole eyes. He's past shit-faced.
It's a condition that he's dealing with.
I don't...
What, his butthole eyes?
Okay.
Butthole eyes.
By the way, for those of you who don't know, we're talking about Pete Davidson, who Ariana Grande said had butthole eyes. Was that right?
No.
I think
she
everybody
did not
said he
say
has
that.
butthole eyes.
I think everybody was saying that because that's what they're calling it when you're like have darkness around your eyes, like Pete Davidson, and your eyes basically look like a butthole. But he says stop telling everybody I got butthole eyes because it's a condition I'm dealing with.
That's seriously?
It's not actually called butthole eyes.
Fuck you, butthole eyes. Your butthole eyes.
Okay, so anyway, Ariana Grande is admitting that she didn't know Pete Davidson that well.
No.
Which is a big shocker. But I'm glad that she's finally coming to terms with the fact that she moved way too fast in that relationship because she had just broken up with Mac Miller and jumped into this relationship with Pete Davidson, and everybody was like, wow, why is she dating him? And then they broke up soon.
Doesn't she know he has butthole eyes?
Yeah, can't she see that?
I don't care. I don't know. We every time I
Ari's
think
gonna be okay.
Every time I think I'm gonna care about Ariana Grande, at some point,
Every time I hear her name, all I think is
licking
the donut. Licker.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like a
sexy
negative
thing.
a negative name for a lesbian. I mean
Yeah.
she was actually licking donuts.
Speaking of, did you see the whole thing about that girl licking the Bluebell ice cream?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God! People went crazy over this.
Well,
Some
okay,
girl.
it is kind of crazy because it's going to make people not want to buy Bluebell ice cream because they're going to be afraid people are going out there and licking it because now it's kind of a challenge.
Some girl went into a grocery store and I guess FaceTimed
She
or
just
something.
Took she took
her
off the lid and she licked
took
the
off
ice
the
cream,
lid,
put
licked the ice
lid
cream,
back on,
put
it
it back.
in the freezer.
There were literally security guards I'm not making this up. Security guards at grocery stores in Texas to protect the ice cream because after she did that, then it became a lick the ice cream challenge. Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, had like a 3-paragraph tweet about how it was important we catch this monster, and he wasn't being ironic or trying to be funny. He was like, we need to catch this person and bring her to justice.
I don't think you understand what Bluebell ice cream means to a fucking Texan.
I guess not.
Okay.
Is it up there with Merle
There's a lot
Haggard?
of ice cream lickers
Yes.
out there now, and they are disrupting.
You know what?
the
Lick all the
Bluebell
ice cream you'd want.
sales.
Don't fuck with the
Okay.
Bluebell.
Hey, with the F-bombs. Jeez. I just feel sensitive to it when Rebecca's on the
Oh,
show.
fuck you. Fuck her too.
Hey!
Okay, that wasn't nice, Rod. That was not nice. You don't say things like that to me.
I didn't say it to you. I said it about you. Aren't you listening?
You want some more bad news?
Yes.
Friends is leaving Netflix.
Who?
What?
Friends is leaving Netflix.
How's that bad news?
That's not bad
You
news.
said it
I
was
don't
bad
really
news.
care about that,
Yeah, I
but
couldn't care less.
HBO Max has their own streaming service, and I'm getting tired of all of these like individual streaming services. And now all the shows that I used to be able to watch in one spot are going to their separate streaming service spots.
That's
and
only
now
gonna
they
get
want
worse.
me
Yeah.
to pay money for each individual streaming service so I can watch each individual show that I like.
Rebecca.
And that's the reason why I
Rebecca.
canceled cable, and I'm
Rebecca.
just not
Rebecca.
doing this.
Rebecca.
What?
You only watch The Office.
Yeah.
So just download The Office.
Okay,
Go
but I still
online.
want options just in case I decide to watch something else.
But
and
you
already
won't.
said that
But
you
you
were going to give
won't.
me all of your Office DVDs, so I don't have to worry.
Well, that
about
was
anything.
before I was fired, and now I had to sell them at a yard sale just so my kids could eat. So I'm sorry, Rebecca. I don't have my Office DVDs anymore.
Like your children eating is more important than Rebecca watching The Office again.
By the way, this is totally the Michael Scott Paper Company podcast. This is what this is.
This is
You guys,
really
you guys
is.
have the cheese balls?
Rod doesn't get this reference, and I love that.
If you
Oh,
don't,
that's right.
if I find out you're holding out cheese balls, I will kill you. So look,
Rod, did you watch these episodes though?
no.
He has
Even
no
though
idea.
maybe you didn't listen. Okay.
But it does. It really. You have Netflix. You should just watch the season 5 episodes of The Office, the Michael Scott Paper Company episodes, because you'll be like, "Oh my God, this is us now. This is the
Rod
Jonathan
is
Weir
Ryan,
show."
and it
yeah,
is so, like,
Rod is Ryan. I'm Michael
100%
Scott,
Rod.
and you're Pam. Yep.
I'm Pam. I didn't quit my job and follow you out though.
Yeah, because you don't have guts.
No, I have brains.
Yeah, good point.
Which is better than guts.
That's a lot better. Yeah. Anyway,
When Pam did that, I was like, Pam, don't do it. I was so stressed the entire time.
You know what? Never mind. I'm not even going to.
they're not real people. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
I'm not going to bother telling her that. The point is, the Netflix thing is only going to get worse. Disney is pulling all their stuff off Netflix. Like you said, HBO, ABC, a lot of channels are coming up with their own streaming services, and everybody sat back and watched Netflix and Hulu rake in money, and now everybody's going to start having their own streaming service.
Yeah, and you know what?
And in order to watch everything, you're going to have to pay like $5 to $30 a month to like 9 different services.
And you know what's going to happen? You remember how 10 years ago everybody's freaking out about internet piracy?
Yep.
Oh, that's coming back. That's going to come back in a big way because,
But that sounds illegal.
it is
And
illegal.
then you know what there's going to be?
So
and
why
yet
would people
There's
do that
going to be
then?
basically the version of a cable company on the internet saying, pay us $20 a month and we'll make sure you can watch all the services.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. And I honestly think that that's intentional because you think about this. How many of those companies are owned by the same company?
Yeah.
AT&T probably owns half of those companies. So let's start a streaming service for each one of them. And then AT&T can sell the AT&T streaming service for $25 a month. You get all of those streaming services in one place.
Which would cost you $30 a month otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is piratebay.org, get a tour guard, get VPN, and then use Plex, and you can watch whatever the hell you want.
Not a sponsor.
No, because they don't have any money.
They don't exist.
They're not legal corporate entities. So no, that's like saying, you know what? The show isn't sponsored by James, the Coke dealer down the street either.
Well,
Well, Rat Tail Jimmy gave us $50 to mention that if you want the good shit, you come find him.
Okay, only a third of the show is sponsored by James.
Which third? You know what? Never mind.
Why are you asking that? Oh, you know what we need to do? We need to read Rod's text to us from yesterday.
oh my gosh, none
on
of
the
that
show.
will make sense.
Do you want to do that?
Rod, are you okay?
Well,
We were both serious. I'm not even making this up. Rod was texting us while he was mowing the grass yesterday, and it was scaring the hell out of Rebecca and I. Rebecca and I were texting to each other outside of this group
We
text
were
you're sending us. Like,
because we wouldn't make a
Snapchatting
mistake
it.
of texting and accidentally
Yeah.
including Rod in that.
We don't want him to know,
And
but we're worried.
we were literally. She was like, "What's going on?" It's like, I don't know. I was like, I guess Rod's streak of not doing hardcore drugs anymore is over.
My
really
responses
not the
were all
case.
confused face gifs.
Gifts. I was outside and I was mowing and I was having trouble with the mower and I was having to fix my friend's mower that I broke, but I did fix it. The point is, I got this great idea and I thought, ooh, that's a good idea. And then it kept getting better. And then I got all excited about it.
Kept getting better.
And so I went
More
to the text to share this great idea that I had. And rather than go, oh my God, that is a great idea, we are totally on board. The two of them, okay, Rebecca went, yeah, that's an idea. And Jonathan just started shooting it down immediately, going,
I did not.
No, your idea sucks.
I did not
And
say
so
that.
I kept getting more adamant about my idea because it's a good idea, and it just got worse. And so I kept trying to explain it, and Jonathan kept telling me they couldn't do it, and Rebecca kept going, y'all are scaring me, and I lost my mind a little.
What it was Rod was doing voice to text. And when Rod does voice to text, because I've been in a room when he does it. Most people, when they do voice to text, they go like, yeah, tell him I'll be there at 9 p.m. When Rod does it, he goes, yeah, tell him I'll be there at 9 p.m. And if he has a problem with that, then he kiss my ass because I'm coming over at 9 p.m. whether he likes it or not. And you can just imagine how that text shows up. It sounds like it's coming from a methed out, manic, crazy person.
I wasn't methed out. I had just gotten started.
Here's
on the
just
meth.
one example. You always do this. You go, no, we have to do it later, and then we don't talk about it anyway. Screw you. I'm going back to mowing. I love you both. I might be higher than giraffe ass, but that's besides the point.
No, that one was actually completely
That was
clear.
one sentence. I'll get everything set up. I'll get some, I don't know, chips and dip or something, some Kool-Aid and some cookies or some shit. We'll play some card records and we'll dance. There'll be drinks. It'll be regular box soul.
Okay, then there was also this.
It'll be
That
a
means you and I
regular.
can
It'll be a regular box social.
Okay. There's also this part. That means you and I can start on our Trent Reznor style remix. Rebecca, I'm talking to you, not John. Oh, spit. Sorry about the spelling. Wasn't me, man. Wasn't me. Don't act like you're not a huge Nine Inch Nails fan, and you and I are planning on remixing all the podcasts like Trent Reznor and releasing them on the West Coast only. I don't care if John knows, it's fine.
Okay, that went a little far.
The point is, Rod wanted to do the list on Friday on Facebook Live. And that was it. And I was like, okay. I said the only thing we can't do is if we do it on Facebook Live. No, you were like,
we can't do a list.
I said we can't do a list on Facebook Live because if we play music, then Facebook will take it down for copyright issues.
Right, we can't do anything copyright infringed. We can't play movie clips or sound clips. And I said, fine, then we'll do a different kind of list. We'll do a list of like best or worst pet peeves or some shit. Something touchy-feely, you know, Rebecca department stuff.
Right. And I said, fine, I like that, but not best pet peeves. How about we do something else? So what we're going to do for a list on Friday, we'll do it on Facebook Live. We'll also record it so it's a podcast as well. We're going to do a list of the best one-liners from a movie, but we can't play clips from the movies because Facebook will shut that down. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to do the line from the movie, and then whoever is suggesting it has to read the line.
Right. Not just read the line, but has to
do an impression.
To try to impersonate the line in the movie.
Right.
Okay, I'm just finding out about this right now.
Yes, you are. But you know, you're the only one here who has any acting chops. I mean, granted, I played Santa Claus in the 5th grade, but you were in the movie
Rod's
Election.
Married to somebody with some.
Well,
major
in all
acting
fairness,
chops.
I have been acting my whole life like a responsible adult.
That is true. That is
No, you haven't. If this is you acting like a responsible adult,
You are a terrible actor.
You're the Steve Gutenberg of.
No, imagine if he wasn't
Steven
acting.
Seagal of acting.
All right, that's a show, right? We don't have anything else.
So Friday night, Facebook Live,
yes, the list, Friday night, Facebook Live.
Details to come.
Rebecca, will you be physically here for that Friday?
In my house?
It's possible. I'm just finding out about this, so.
It was in the text. I think you just stopped reading.
There was a lot of stuff in that text. Yeah, I did stop reading because it wasn't making sense. Also, I have a job still, and I was working while all of this was going on.
I think reading Rod